So let's get into it, child. So we got some gross pastors that we need to get into, child. And when I say gross, I am talking about those who have been accused. Now, I want to go ahead and say accused of SAing a child or someone who has said no. Okay. We have five pastors to go over today. All right. And that's exactly what we're here to do. Let's get into it, child. All right. So again, we are here to discuss a few of these pastors who have been accused. Some have been convicted, or they're either going through trial right now of doing some improper things to people that they should not be doing it to. Okay. That's where we're going to start with this. But before we get into that, I do want to give a fair trigger warning to anyone who may not be able to handle this to please step away. Okay. If you are triggered by this, please make sure you step away, because that is not the intention, is to trigger you. The intention is for everyone to be aware of things that are going on. I also want to say this. I do truly believe that there are good pastors, and I believe that there are bad pastors. And when I say bad pastors, I mean gross pastors. Let's get into gross pastor number one. All right. This man is absolutely sick. Let's get into Robert L. Carter. Let's go ahead and let's get into it, child. All right. So here we go. All right. So this first person that we are going to discuss is going to be a pastor of a Houston church. Okay. A pastor of a Houston church, just absolutely disgusting, but we must go over the story. A local pastor charged with SA. All right. An underage family member, also said to have had a child with her when she was 14 years old, did not take a plea deal in court today. The case now goes to trial on February the 21st of 2025. Now, as of the recording of this video, I don't have an update on the trial just yet. But believe me, we are going to make sure that we update you. The date of record or recording this video is Wednesday, March the 12th. So I will say, as again, I don't know the update on the situation just yet. But let's go ahead and get into, again, why he's locked up. He is pleading not guilty, and our hopes is people will presume him innocent. Pastor Robert L. Carter's attorney, Eric Davis, told KPRC2. Now, we first brought you this story last year in October after allegations against Pastor Carter surfaced. Monday night, another one of the alleged victims' family members who spoke out against Carter back then is speaking to us again. Well, he's been back and forth to court over the last year, said the family member, who we are not identifying to protect the alleged victim's identity. Now, Carter, who was a pastor and a bishop, was charged with continued SA of a child and SA of a child ages 14 through 17. Now, how could you show your face in a church where you profess to keep the word or speak the word of God, said the victim's family member. Now, he says that Carter abused the girl some 600 times starting when she was just 7 years old, then got her pregnant when she was only 14 years old. He says that the girl gave birth in the closet. Then Carter took the baby and dropped him off at a local fire station. I mean, it's horrific for one, but it's been waiting on justice, on the judicial system, I'm sorry, to step in and do what they can do, the family member says. Now, shortly after being charged last year, Carter posted a $200,000 bond. The alleged victim's family member we've been speaking with says that the baby she had, now 6 years old, was adopted by a loving family. That child is in the best place possible, he said. As for the alleged victim himself, or the alleged victim herself, she was just tired. She was tired of being afraid, the family member said. The alleged victim's loved ones asked that she's been working with the prosecutor and working to heal from the trauma. I've never met anyone, a woman stronger than that woman there. I've never met a woman who, knowing all of the facts, can get up every day and not go crazy, he said. In addition to getting justice for his loved one, the family member hopes that this story motivates other victims of SA to come forward. Again, I don't have an update specifically on his trial, but let me just tell you something. I think that it is absolutely, utterly disgusting what this man did. And again, it must be talked about. It must be talked about. It's just utterly disgusting, yo. And I cannot believe it. Over 600 times. It started when she was 7 years old, and he got her pregnant, made her have the baby in the closet, and then allegedly took the baby down to the nearest or the local fire station. That is crazy work. Okay. This again, this again is Robert L. Carter out of Houston, Texas. All right. He is gross pastor number one. All right, let's go ahead and get into these doggone the second pastor of the gross pastor series, okay? Because that's what we're gonna call this, because it's some terrible people out here. But I will also say this too: there are some amazing preachers out here, but there are also some bad ones again that we must talk about. Okay, we I mean we have to, because a lot of what goes on is just extremely ridiculous, and I feel like it doesn't necessarily get the credit that it deserves. So guess what? We're going to keep talking and we're going to keep doing it. Let's go. Trial for Mobile area pastor accused of R word underway. Two alleged victims have testified. So this was published as of February the 24th of 2025. Mobile, Alabama. The trial for a mobile area pastor accused of R word is underway. Some of the details are disturbing, so brace yourself. Bradrick Vail faces 3 counts of first degree R word, 3 counts of SA, and 1 count of first degree sodomy. Listen, here we go. He was arrested last May after a Mobile County grand jury secretly indicted him. Now, Mobile police called this an extensive SA investigation, with victims in both Mobile and Pritchard investigations. Investigators say that Vail met his alleged victims through his church. Vail is the pastor of Tree of Life Deliverance Ministry on Stanton Road. It was an emotional testimony for both alleged victims on Monday, as they claimed that they trusted him as their pastor. Faith leaders react to shocking SA allegations against Mobile area pastor. On Monday, opening statements were heard from the district attorney's office and Vail's attorney. According to the first alleged victim, she says that she was introduced to Vail by a family member and started attending his church in 2022. She claimed that their first encounter was at the same family member's house, where Vail wanted to pray for her. Mm. The alleged victim says that Vail told her to get undressed, kneel on top of a Bible, and put a sheet over her and R-worded her. According to Vail's attorneys, the alleged victim says that she never called 911, went to a hospital, or pursued a rape AR kit, and that she continued to attend his church. The woman claimed that she was afraid to say no and thought that Vail might harm her. The next alleged victim says that she met Vail in 2023. The woman says that she offered to help Vail paint the church, and Vail offered to pray for her because she was having shoulder pain. During this interaction, the woman says that she was A-worded as in a similar fashion as the other alleged victim. Whew. Now, Vail's attorney also pointed out that this second woman never called 911, went to the hospital, or pursued an R kit, and that it was her grandmother who went forward to the police. We're told Bradrick will take the stand during this trial. Again, this is the latest on him. And again, he is there in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, to be exact. Listen, again, these stories are so unfortunate. They're sad. But again, we must talk about him. Now, this is the gross pastor number 2. Okay. Let us not forget Bradrick Vail. All right, child. So let's get into number 3, child. Let's get into number 3. A North Texas pastor is arrested on SA charge, police say. Now, police said that this is Ronald Goens and he is 51. So let's get into it. An Arlington pastor has been arrested on SA charges, police said. Police have arrested Ronald Goens in connection to an ongoing SA investigation, the Arlington Police Department announced this week. Now, police said that Goens, 51, turned himself into the Tarrant County Jail on Thursday after the department's ex-crime unit obtained 2 warrants for his arrest, one in indecent indecent A and another for SA. He was released from jail on Saturday, July the 27th, after posting a $23,000 bail for the 2 charges. It goes on to say, according to police, a woman filed a report with the department regarding Goens in June. Police said that report then spurred an investigation, which led to a criminal charge being filed against Goens. According to the court records, the alleged victim met Goens and joined his church in 2022 and exchanged phone numbers with him in January of 2023, at which point they began texting frequently. Per those same records, when the victim, who doesn't live in Dallas Fort Worth, told the pastor that she'd be in town for a conference last year, they agreed to meet up. Per the affidavit, Goens then invited her to an event on March the 3rd, after which Goens and the woman drove back to his apartment because he told her that he was having car trouble. According to the affidavit, the victim alleged that Goens asked her a bunch of inappropriate questions upon entering his apartment and then tried to kiss her. Court records said that she denied his advances, but he then began kissing her on the neck and rubbing her legs, eventually pulling her top down, exposing her. Per the affidavit, the alleged victim told police that um, she asked Goens to stop and went to the restroom, but Goens followed her, barging in and made advances again. The woman told officers that she eventually got Goings off of her and then left his residence, the affidavit said. The affidavit also notes that the alleged victim told police that she then met with Goings the next day as planned, went to an event at a local theater, and then went back to Goings' apartments once more. Now, ma'am, okay, I'm saying my thoughts. Per the affidavit, the woman told police Goins again started kissing her on the neck and tried to remove her clothing. The woman told police that she repeatedly told Goins no, but he persisted. At one point, putting his hands in her underwear, the affidavit states. According to the arrest warrant, Goins told police that he did not in any way, shape, or form force himself upon the woman. But in the recording, the alleged victim gave to police of a conversation between her and Goins after the incident. The pastor allegedly told the woman that the bottom line is that you were uncomfortable. I caused it and I am sorry, period. In announcing his arrest, police also acknowledged that Goins previously served in the City of Arlington Unity Council, and that he is also a former member of the Arlington Police Department Clergy and Police Partnership Program, the ACAPP. The Arlington Police Department APD describes ACAPP as a volunteer group made up of local leaders of faith-based organizations here in town. ACAPP members, APD said, will sometimes serve as actors in training events or visit stations to pray for or over officers. Goins is also the founding and lead pastor of the Quinoa. I'm probably saying that so wrong. Quinoa, however you say it, y'all see it. Church in Arlington. WFAA reached out to the church for comments, but they have yet to respond. Now, Arlington police asked that someone with information about Goins reach out to their ex-crime unit. Okay, so this here's what I'll say about this one. Ma'am, now listen, I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to do none of that. But I wouldn't have went back that second day. I sure wouldn't have. Because he clearly had no intentions on respecting your boundaries. So again, I'm not saying that you couldn't have went out on a date with him, but going back to his resident after what he tried to pull the day before, that's kind of bonkers to me. But to each his own there. But again, that does not give him the free will and right to do what he did, and I want that to be understood. I think it's absolutely gross and disgusting, and yeah, I cannot. Disgusting, disgusting. Let's get into number Let's get into number 4. Okay. All right. This is Robert Hatcher. Okay. This is Robert Hatcher. So let's get into it. Philadelphia mega church pastor who covered victim's mouth to muffle her screams before SAing her in an abandoned building, sentenced to 12 years in jail. A mega church pastor in Philadelphia who the judge referred to as a serial predator has been sentenced to 5 to 12 years in prison for SAing 3 children, RadarOnline.com can reveal. In February, Mark Hatcher, Sr., 61, of the Holy Ghost Headquarters Revival Center, was convicted of R-wording, statutory SA, and indecent A word. All right. Front page detectives reported. It goes on to say that 2 of the convictions stem from Hatcher's SA of 2 children to whom he was related, a 6-year-old boy in 2007 through 2008, and a 15-year-old girl in 2000. The third conviction was the R-ing of a 13-year-old girl in an abandoned home owned by Hatcher's church. During his sentencing, Montgomery County Court Judge Thomas Branca said that there were 2 men on trial. One was an active, beloved community leader and pastor, and the other was a serial predator, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported. According to KYW Newsroom, the judge said that he considered the good Hatcher has done, but said heavier weight goes into the crimes that he has committed. Prosecutor Carolyn Goldstein also argued that Hatcher used his position as a pastor to take advantage of people, especially children, and that outweighs any positive actions. It goes on to say that during the trial, one of the victims claimed that Hatcher kissed him and touched his bottom under his clothes when the now 22-year-old man was 6 to 7 years old. Another victim told the court that when he was 6 years old, Hatcher used the boy's hand to pleasure himself. The third victim said that when she was 13, Hatcher pinned her to a mattress, covered her mouth, and muffled her screams, and then R-worded her in an abandoned building. Hatcher has maintained his innocence during the trial and sentencing, saying that he hopes that God will heal the 3 people who a jury convicted him of SA. That's just pure ignorance and disgusting. Like, oh my God. At the sentencing hearing, former Philadelphia Mayor Wilson Good was one of the 3 witnesses who testified on Hatcher's behalf. He said that Hatcher brought fundamental changes to Philadelphia, and he has never heard anything negative about him in 30 years. When asked if he still supports Hatcher despite his conviction, Good replied that while he supports him, it's very challenging and difficult to know the things that he has done. Child, listen, this is from Radar Online. I do know the Philadelphia Inquirer, they charge, I'm not paying nobody for some stuff that we could just Google. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But listen, let me just say this. This is sick and this is crazy. And now basically what you're saying to me is that at first you believed him, but you weren't believing the children who spoke out. Because let's just be honest, this stuff started coming out in 2021, 2022, and you then still at the trial, after you have heard everything, here you are still defending him. Child, this is just this is sad, man. This is sad. Again, I'm going to say this again. I do think that there are good pastors, but then I also think that there are pastors who must be held accountable for the things that they do to children, to anyone who says no to them. They use their power, they use whatever they have against these people, and it's not fair. It's just not fair. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Robert Morris. Robert Morris was is a Texas pastor who stepped down. Okay, he was amongst those who stepped down for specific reasons, and we're going to get into it. Robert Morris, the founding pastor of Gateway Church, a mega church in South Lake, Texas, has been indicted on 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child, stemming from alleged incidents dating back to the 1980s, the Oklahoma Attorney General Office announced on Wednesday. Morris resigned from the Gateway Church last year following allegations that he had sexual relations in Oklahoma with a then 12-year-old girl, Cindy, 4 decades ago. After almost 43 years, the law has finally caught up with Robert for the horrific crimes that he committed against me as a child, Cindy said in a statement on Wednesday. Now it is time for the legal system to hold him accountable. My family and I are deeply grateful to the authorities who have worked tirelessly to make this day possible and remain hopeful that justice will ultimately prevail. The indictment was announced by the Office of the Oklahoma Attorney General, Janitor Durmond. A multi-county grand jury investigation resulted in 5 felony counts. My God. There can be no tolerance for those who actually prey on children, Drummond said. This case is all the more despicable because of the alleged predator uh, was a pastor. The alleged predator was a pastor who exploited his position. The victim in this case have waited far too many years for justice to be done. According to Drummond's office, the statute of limitations does not apply to this case because Morris was not a resident or inhabitant of Oklahoma at any time. Gateway Church released the following statement to CBS News on CBS News Texas. We are aware of the actions being taken by the legal authorities in Oklahoma and are grateful for the work of the justice system in holding abusers accountable for their actions. We continue to pray for Cindy and her family, for the members and the staff of the Gateway Church, and for all of those impacted in this terrible situation. The scandal surrounding the Gateway Church, Robert Morris. The public controversy for the mega church began in June when Cindy publicly claimed that the church's founder, Robert Morris, actually essayed her starting in 1982 when she was just 12 years old. Morris was a traveling evangelist in his early 20s and had become close with her family. Those allegations were the first published by the Waltzburg Watch, a North Carolina-based church watchdog blog, and then picked up by the Christian Post. The Christian Post definitely put one up there. Okay. So Cindy told the Waltzburg Watch that the alleged abuse continued until 1987. Morris acknowledged in a sermon in 2014 that he was sexually immoral. Sexually immoral. Sorry, guys. This is not a funny situation. When he was a young man and admitted to inappropriate sexual behavior in a statement to the Christian Post. When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady in a home where I was staying, he said. It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years. Church elders said that Morris disclosed to them that he had an extramarital affair, but not that he had allegedly abused a 12-year-old. On June the 18th, Morris resigned from his position as the pastor of Gateway Church, and Cindy said that she has mixed thoughts and feelings regarding Morris' resignation and believes that she is not the only victim. Though I am grateful that he is no longer the pastor at Gateway, I am disappointed that the board of elders allowed him to resign. She wrote in a statement, he should have been terminated, and I agree. She rebuked church elders for knowing and acknowledging her claims of sexual abuse, but intentionally embracing the false narrative that Robert Morris wanted them to believe. On June the 23rd, prosecutors gathered outside of the church as a church elder addressed the congregation for the first time after the statements. As an elder, I did not know the truth, and frankly, like many of you, my wife and I are shocked, devastating, and grieving, said Trey Wilbanks, a Gateway Church elder. I'd like to express my personal compassion for Cindy. I cannot imagine carrying a burden like that for so many years, and I want to say to you Cindy, I am sorry. Four members of the Gateway Church Board of Elders, including Robert Moore's son, were put on temporary leaves of absence as an outside legal team investigates the accusations against Morris, the church said on June the 20th. Founded in 2000, the South Lake-based Gateway Church expanded to become one of the largest congregations in the nation, drawing approximately 100,000 attendees each weekend to its 9 campuses. Morris broadcasted his weekly program live online to over 190 countries, reaching even wider audience. Gateway Church also recently settled a 2020 lawsuit alleging child AB. The case settled in April involved accusations that multiple church pastors covered up the alleged SA of a child by a member of the congregation in March of 2018. The child's mother filed the lawsuit in Tarrant County in 2020, which also claimed that prosecutors encouraged members of the congregation to ostracize her. The lawsuit also claimed that the church leaders conspired when they failed to inform law enforcement that they were aware of the alleged AB and had spoken with the church member who accused them. It also alleged that the church leaders tried to discredit the allegations. For its part, the megachurch said that it is not guilty of any cover-up or failure to report, stating that the incident from the 2020 lawsuit did not happen on a Gateway campus or a Gateway event, but between two teens during a sleepover at a family home. The church said that a third teenager was also told about the incident and later related to his mother, a Gateway Church staff member who reported it to the proper authorities within 48 hours. The mother of the victim was irate and claimed that Gateway Church intentionally hid the story for weeks and failed to report it to the authorities. The church said in a previous statement to CBS News. Whew. These pastors are utterly gross. And this is what I don't understand about the church. Why don't we talk about this before the pulpit? Because to me, it goes on extremely too often for us to sweep it under the rug and not to ever talk about it. These are the things that need to be brought out in the forefront. Y'all always want to preach about homosexuality, and you want to tear people down for the homosexual that are in the LGBTQ community. But the crazy thing is a lot of these pastors are out here messing with little boys and doing things that y'all don't talk about, messing with little girls, messing with people that they don't have no business messing with. But that's not what y'all want to talk about. That's not what y'all want to preach on. You want to hide it under the rug. No, girl, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right now. It's gross, it's disgusting, and it goes on every day, and we need to be discussing it more often. All right. So listen, this is the first part of the Gross Pastor series, honey. We have 5 pastors in this one, and I got some more for the next one. All right. With that being said, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you bang that notification bell so that you'll know when we drop part 2. Peace.